All right, so I got a question here from Veganix. It says, "What do you think of the massive exposure animal rights base? I think the base might be a typo, but animal rights something got over the Australian chef who banned vegans." So I hadn't heard of this, and I googled it. I watched a thing on it. It was pretty wild. There, there's basically an Australian like steak restaurant. They had very few vegan options. A vegan went to this restaurant, I'm guessing with some friends that weren't vegan. Anyways, got a vegan option, was disappointed, left a comment on somewhere on social media that they were disappointed in the vegan option. And the chef went on there and made a video. I think it was like some kind of a joke, but maybe not a joke, saying that vegans weren't allowed in the restaurant. And so then there was like some backlash. Some protesters were outside the restaurant. And it looked like some protesters went inside the restaurant. There was a whole thing about how there was so much controversy that the chef's fiance left him and he blamed it on vegans. I thought that part, at first I was starting to feel kind of bad for the guy, but then it seemed like I don't know how serious that was or could be. Like if you did seemingly nothing wrong, and just because there's like a bunch of wild attention about vegan stuff, and I'm guessing that I guess if his wife was a vegan or something, but then if his or her fiance, if she was a vegan, it probably wouldn't happen. So, anyways, I didn't put too much into that, but it is interesting, the idea of like somebody doing something illegal. So, like, say some vegan activists. Let's say that there's a certain level of protesting that is legal, so you can be anywhere you want publicly. But if there's a private area you can't be, then I would say I'm not in favor of people doing things that are illegal, but it's complicated. So the most important thing we can have is the law, right? Like if like what exists in nature is, you have all these animals, humans are animals, but we were intelligent enough to be able to make a society, and we can create laws and say, like, have a prison, law enforcement, and say, if you do these things that are illegal, then you get in trouble. If you don't, then you just have pure chaos. Anybody can kill anybody, anybody can rape anybody can do whatever they want. So you say, in this area, these are the laws. You can't do these things. If you do, you get in trouble. So I think laws are possibly the most important thing that humans have ever figured out. And so even if you disagree with laws, I think it's important to respect them. So you might disagree with the law allowing people to eat animals, the law allowing a restaurant to say vegans can't eat here, something like that. And so I think it's best to respect laws. But I mean, imagine if in my society or your society that it was there was something crazy. Like, imagine if slavery still existed. There could be something that could be within law that you find so despicable that you'd want to fight against it. So here's kind of my stance on that is, I mean, you can't just have chaos. Chaos wouldn't be good. So you'd hope and want your society to have the laws be kind of what your values are. I mean, you probably won't get everything, but you could at least want freedom for others, something like there not being slavery. And so something could be so bad, like slavery, or even like the animal holocaust, where you could say, this is so bad that I'm willing to cause a scene. I'm willing to do something to get arrested. But here's the thing. If we want anything to function, we would have to want the laws to be fulfilled. So if you want to cause a disturbance because of something that you think is a horrible law, you should also want the law to do its job. So if you do something to I guess what I'm saying is somebody could do something that I think is a good action, like breaking a law to prove a point. But if they were caught, I would want them to get in the amount of trouble you'd get in for that law broken. And that's because I want the laws to work. And So that's why I think it's best to, vote in your representatives you want, and have conversations with many people and try to get the majority to change their mind on what some laws are. And so, anyways, I guess it's kind of complicated because I don't know what the laws are in Australia and with that whole restaurant situation. But I guess that's my stance on if there were laws broken by the vegan protesters. Now, as far as a restaurant not allowing vegans to come in the restaurant, in my personal opinion, at this time, I think when it comes to somebody having a private business, I think they should be able to do whatever they want. You could say any amount of, if you're vegan, don't come in here. Now, even non-vegans that find that to be silly for him to do, I think should vote with their dollars. They should say, okay, if somebody's going to alienate an entire group, especially over a bad review about a vegan option, then they're not going to support the business, and that's fine. I guess I kind of view it the same as something like a religious cake store not wanting to make cakes for a gay wedding or whatever. I think that's silly. I don't know. There's a chance that I probably wouldn't support that store, but maybe I would. I don't know. But I think they should be allowed to. It's just bad for business because then any cake store that makes the same cakes those people make, but also will make a cake for a gay wedding, they'll get all the business. And so I think anybody should be able to do whatever they want to do as far as who's not allowed or allowed in a store and who can buy or not buy whatever kind of thing. And then whatever choices you make in that regard will lead to your business failing or not. So it's probably not best. The news outlet I watched this thing on for the Australian thing, they were on his side, which is fine. I think I'm more on his side as far as how I view the right and wrong is here. Obviously not on the vegan side of things or not. But they were on his side by saying, like, if you can, go support this restaurant, so this, he doesn't lose his company or whatever. And I'm sure there's a lot of anti-vegans that went to the restaurant and supported it. And yeah, I didn't feel like the vegans necessarily did much wrong, but I didn't really watch too much of it. But I guess comparing it to something like riots, you could think it's wrong to eat animals and to have a restaurant that serves up animal corpses. But if it's illegal to throw a rock through a window, then a vegan protester that puts a rock through a restaurant window should get arrested and owe however much money to fix the window. And therefore, maybe it wasn't even worth doing. If you can afford to do this, to get arrested and fix a window, then maybe doing it's worth it to cause a scene and get people thinking about it. But in my mind at this stage, I think things have to happen in stages. If this happened when we were further along with more vegans in the world, it might have a better impact, where now I think maybe it just makes vegans look a little crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's complicated. It's definitely complicated. But yeah, those are my thoughts. But yeah, so if you like it, what you heard, hit like. If you want to see more, click subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.